Welcome to HaKol, where we talk about it all. HaKol is the podcast for all you girlies, and we're going to talk about everything from hot takes to things that we just wanted to be normalized. Here we are, and I'm so excited for this week's episode. I'm here with Nina Adler, and she's a teacher, a business owner, and a writer, and I'm so excited to get into this with you. So I'm going to give the stage to Nina, and please introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, I'm Nina Adler. I was born and raised in Pico Robertson. I still live there. I've been teaching in this community for probably over 20 years now. I have my master's in education. I ran a tutoring business for years. And for the last 13 years, I have been teaching Mommy and Me. My company is called Tunes and Tykes. And I really get the absolute joy of being the first teacher that many people encounter, and I love the relationships that I form and just seeing people at the very beginning of their parenting journey and then being there with them as their kids grow. And now my OGs are in high school now. So that should give you an idea of how long I've been doing this
That's
for.
incredible. That's incredible to just see your little babies in high school.
Yeah, eighth and ninth grade. My first crop of kids are in eighth and ninth grade. It actually, I mean, I was always teaching, but this whole mommy and me started because a group of my friends, we did like a round robin, basically, where every week we would be in someone else's house. We all kind of wanted that socialization and we wanted our kids to be around other kids. And maybe we didn't even have the funds to pay for a class. So we kind of made it happen.
Yeah.
And I just fused my love of teaching, which is what I had studied, and my love of music, which is something I always enjoyed. And I thought, you know what, this is something that I really think I could do. And so did get a certification in a certain method and have gotten a few since. But I've just built upon that since my oldest, who's now in ninth grade, was very little.
So that's amazing because you and your friends kind of saw a problem that you guys were having, and really you were the one who was like, "Let's go, let's make a mommy and me." And when did it become more like I need to do this for other people? When did you kind of see that?
I guess I saw that when it was at my house and I kind of focused more on the music, that it was something that I really leaned in towards. And I thought there was a bit of a gap in the market because there were classes, but they were all kind of like a drive away. And I lived right in the heart of Pico Robertson. And at the time, I was obviously connected to a lot of people that had babies and they were looking for something that they could walk to or come. I had some full-time working moms that would take their lunch break and like bring their baby. And because it was so convenient, that was kind of my like what I saw as like my opportunity. And then I built upon it for many, many years. And I worked for some years, I worked in Maimonides in Yavna doing music. So I kind of took it into the school setting, then took it back out when I just had too many kids to manage all of that.
Wow.
But yeah, people are looking to connect and people are looking to make friends and people are looking for things to do with their babies, including me. Like I was also, it's very hard to go from, let's say, being in school and working and, being busy all the time. If you grew up from, you were in school from 7:45 to 5 o'clock or whatever. And then you have a baby and you're kind of home and you want to fill your day. So it's nice to have a schedule, to have something you go to have even though you are participating with your kids, the style that I do does ask for the parents to participate a little bit. You're not just like sitting back, but there's someone else kind of facilitating that. You don't have to think about all the ideas. It kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off. Like, what do I do with this baby now? Like, it's a lot, it's a long day.
That's so great. And I want to get right into it because I know for new mamas and even mamas that are really, really young and mamas that are even old, you have this beautiful baby, and for so many weeks, this baby doesn't do much. You could still kind of do your own thing, just
Mhm.
bring this baby along. And then it hits a point, and it's different for every child where suddenly they go from doing nothing to wanting to do everything.
Yes.
And I know sometimes, emotionally, that's really hard on a mom because it's like, wait, 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 wait. I had such a good thing going. Yes, this beautiful baby was in my life, but I was able to still do the things I want. And now I'm home, and this baby doesn't want to stay still. And mommy me's are amazing for that
Yeah.
because you're able to bring your baby and learn, I would say, the new way to connect to your baby and have your baby connect to other people. And then also to connect to moms. And I think that's the most important. thing. And that's one of the most important things that you do is that you really connect moms with moms.
I try to. Full disclosure, I do have nannies that come. A lot of moms work full time, but I think any caregiver who's spending all their whole day with the baby, really enjoys this type of environment where the baby can see other babies and they can be with other adults, and there is some facilitated play, um, as well as yes, like friendships can be formed and you can really like start to meet your crew because there's a mom who has a baby the same age as you, and oh, we're talking about sleep training and we're talking about feeding and all these topics. I'm not like a parenting teacher. I'm not sitting around and telling you about these things, but naturally the conversation goes to what common issues people are coming up with or facing, and then people will kind of connect and say, "Oh, like we should do Shabbos together. Or, like let's go to the park on Thursday. Oh, Tuesdays we do music. Thursdays let's do park." So that it definitely leads to a lot of that. And also, like, sometimes people just don't even I didn't even know. I was a teacher. Well, how do you entertain a baby? How do you stimulate a baby? So it kind of gives you ideas,
Yeah.
songs, different things you could do, different books they might like. So it kind of gives you ideas and takes the pressure off. Also, something that I like in my style, there are lots of different mommy me's. Some of them are more social, like for the moms, and there's a need for all types. There's gym classes, there's ones that are more structured, unstructured. I kind of want to make a place where like adults can like pretend they're little again and just be silly,
I
you know?
knew you were gonna say that, and I love that because I feel like we all take ourselves. Obviously, we're adults, so we all like taking ourselves way too seriously. But that is such a nice thing to like have like the 45 minutes of like kind of like being allowed to encouraged to just play.
To be silly and to like dance and to like jump around and, make, I don't know, animal noises.
Yeah.
We feel awkward as adults, but like I always tell my moms or my caregivers, your kid's favorite voice to hear is yours. You don't need to sing on key. You don't need to be an opera singer. You don't need to be comfortable singing. But they're like, wow, my mom is participating with me right now. And my mom is with me and in getting to my level. Like, I do try and incorporate in some of the dancing and the play along some more adult friendly music. So it's not all wheels on the bus. But at the same time, it's fun to like get to the kids' level and be silly with them and laugh at what they laugh at and just remember what it's like to be young. And also, like you said, when the babies are little and you're running around and you're doing this and you're doing that and they're in the stroller, then they get to the point that, like, they don't wanna do that anymore, so this is kind of like a press pause. I know you're really busy, I know you have to go to the market, I know you have to make dinner and that, but for 45 minutes, we're just gonna spend time on what this toddler needs. Of course, that's not reasonable to do all day, every day. I'm not saying, like, never be on your phones or never get distracted, we're all distracted, we're busy, I get it, but for 45 minutes once a week, it's just lovely to, like, just not. Like, we're not ordering from Instacart and we're not doing our online shopping or whatever else. And we're just like singing a song and sitting with our baby and being in their mindset. Full disclosure, like I have a baby after a long break. So for me, I take him to a different mommy and me because I feel like, Baruch Hashem, like I do have help and I am working. So I am like able to go out a lot, but for 45 minutes a week or an hour a week, whatever it is, I like to say, this is my Jakey time, and I'm going to just be with him. I'm not the teacher, I'm not facilitating because he does come to my classes, but he sits with my mom or my nanny, and I'm the teacher and I'm not the mom. So I really do I can say, like, I put my money where my mouth is, I guess, and I also do this as a mom and just, like, stop and say, "Oh, look how good you are at climbing," or, "You like the blocks," and I'm really looking at what he's doing, which, when you have, Baruch Hashem, a big family, it's not always easy to take the time to do.
It's funny. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say like that's so nice when you have a big family to have that 45 minutes once a week of just you and the new baby time. Because
Correct.
like in a sense, like not and obviously big families are such blessings, but in a sense, like the youngest one does get a little bit put in the back corner because like the bigger ones have bigger problems and they have bigger emotions and bigger tantrums. Where the little one is still like able to just like kind of like do it, do it so nice.
Yeah.
So nice that there's like a time that you can put in for like 45 minutes to just have this with your newest, you know, if you're a big family.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice also for the younger ones have so much stimulation just because they have older siblings. So they have another blessing, but maybe their older siblings had more of your time. So it's always a balance. We're always walking a tightrope as moms.
100%. It's like with Malka, I used to take her mommy me's so much. Now with Adina, when she was more little, I did. And now I just find it harder. But I will say the one really nice thing is that when I used to go with Malka postpartum, I actually had postpartum depression, so it was much harder. But I used to go out all the time to mommy and me's just to like connect to different moms. So it was like so nice, and it was really nice to also see because let's say like I know I'm on social media, so I would see all my friends on social media killing the game, and you're like, "Whoa, like, what is happening?" When you just see it like that, and then to get to mommy and me's, and then to like start a conversation with them and see like, "Oh no, no, they're having the same problem."
Pull the curtain back and you see that like most women, most moms, most families are all dealing with different things or similar things, but nothing is as perfect as the image that we all try so desperately to project. And I think it's so important to have that real one-on-one FaceTime, that real socialization with other moms, with other families, with kids similar ages. And then you kind of can bond over that, learn from each other, and just like just less isolating.
Definitely less isolating, especially because like when you're, let's say in a Shabbos table, sometimes the conversation is you don't want to bring the conversation up of like hardships with kids. So it's a Shabbos table, like, oh,
And the kids are there.
the kids are there, yeah. So then, like, to have a mommy and me, and just to be like, let's say even like needing help with sleep training or needing just a recommendation for schools or whatever, then having that group of girls being able to be like, oh, I did this or I did that, or hey, wait, I'm going through this or anything like that. It's like so nice.
It's so nice, and hopefully it leads to then furthering the friendships and
Yes,
the walks and the time together because, interpersonal time with other moms is so important. At this time in my career, I guess, I've kind of graduated to the, like, big sister role. I do have a baby, but I also have older kids. So, whereas when I first started, I was, like, in it with everyone, like, we were all, like, in the same stage.
yeah,
I feel like and now I've kind of, like, migrated to the, like, I'm a little bit like the elder states person, so I also love to be able to people ask me about schools and my experience, and I'm so happy to share. Again, this isn't like a parenting class, mommy and me,
yeah,
but it just casual conversation. I'm so happy to, like, just tell you about my experience or what I've seen over my time doing this and working with families, and, just kinda be like that big sister kinda role for the younger moms.
100%. And we all need that big sister, you know, like even this episode, like that's gonna be a big sister to someone who like doesn't have someone to talk to about if mommy me's are good for them or if they think they should start. Like big sisters are so important.
And then people are coming and asking, "When should my kids start school? Should they start at 2? Should they start at 3? What type of preschool?" And, I'm very careful, and I really try to be careful, like, there's no one answer, there's nothing that's black and white. Every kid is different, every family is different, every mom is different,
Yeah.
every preschool is different, like, what are you looking for? So, I really try to be careful with my advice to be as dialectical as possible that like, it's not a one size fits all. Every kid in every family is different. I mean, I have 4 kids, 4 boys, same gender, very different personalities. Like I started one kid at age 2, one kid at age 3, one kid in this style preschool, one kid in that style preschool. So, it really is helpful to talk to people and talk out what is going on and what is the whole situation and like it's helpful because it's unhelpful to see little tidbits online of like this is good for kids, that is good for kids. Well, yeah, and maybe it's not good for your kid, or you like I would never tell someone homeschooling is bad or homeschooling is good. It's like it can be good, it can be not good. Depends on the mom, depends on the kid. I mean, it's just it wouldn't work personally. Something like that maybe wouldn't work personally for me, but it could work very well for somebody else. So, and you never know till you try.
Right, you never know till you try. And then also, I kind of wanted to tap into that friendship aspect in mommy and me's because I know for myself, it was so nice to be able to connect with friends, and I felt like I met so many people And those people that you meet could really become part of your village.
100%. I think Mommy and Me is a great place to start. Um, I I'm just honest, like, not everyone likes Mommy and Me, and I'm not offended by that. I liked it and I teach it, but, it doesn't work for everyone. Some people, it's just not the format that's gonna work for them, but I would say it is so important to somehow find and connect with other moms. So maybe you need to go to shul on Shabbos more often, get yourself out of the house, go to Kiddush, or maybe your shul has groups that you can kind of hang out in, or maybe you're gonna then put more effort into inviting people over for Shabbos lunches or texting people to like go to the park or go for a walk. Maybe you don't like a formal mommy and me, or it's financially out of your range, or whatever it is. But you do need to put effort into forming your village. It's so, like, tempting to dream about, like, my friends are just gonna drop by my front door and be like, "Let's be best friends, and let's raise our kids together, and let's have this Leave It to Beaver life." But that's not everyone is busy, and it doesn't mean that no one cares about you, but people are thinking about themselves and what they need. So you sometimes do need to put in that effort to make relationships. Sometimes you're living in the same city and you have high school friends. Sometimes, listen, I'm living in the same city and some of my closest friends from were not high school friends. They were people I met along the way. I did have some high school friends, but a lot of them have moved away. So it does take effort. It happens to be it is more in my nature to reach out, like start a mommy and me, start a book club, whatever it is. So it's hard for me to say this, but even if it's a little bit against your nature, it's worth it. It's worth it to challenge yourself because like it's just not going to arrive at your doorstep like man from Hashem. It's just not.
It's funny because I would say, coming from someone who moved here, it's so true. Like like you'd think like, oh, I moved here, so like everyone is gonna like take care of me because I'm the new girl. And it's like, yes, they do that for a few weeks and it's so special. But if you then are not the personality that is just like following up or chasing, in a sense, like that's gonna crumble really quickly.
Yeah, and even in the best, most well-meaning, sweetest communities, that is like a bubble that's gonna last for a short time, and that doesn't even always happen. It doesn't, and hopefully it does, and I hope that, like, I definitely try my hardest to be that person that's inviting the new people within, my abilities, but it doesn't always happen, and, I have to say, even especially someone who grew up here, when I was a first newlywed and I had little babies, like, to be honest, it worked against me because people were like, "Oh, she has her parents. She doesn't need," but that and I love my family and I'm close to my family, but that's not friends. So I did need to put effort into being like, "Okay, so I'm gonna invite 3 couples over to my house, and then hopefully then you'll get 2 invitations back." But it takes effort from every person in the dynamic. It's not gonna be one-sided.
Yeah, it's funny because like you leave high school and you're like, oh, I'm so done with this. And in a sense, it's like, no, you're never done with creating and nourishing friendships, In every stage of life, you're gonna have to kind of do it again.
100,000,000%. And then again and again and again. And I don't know if we can really get into this, but it's also hard sometimes when like your kids are little and you have your mom friends and your kid friends and they're cute and they're little and they're boys and they're girls and they're this and they're that. And then they get older and you're like, wait, the group isn't matching anymore.
Fear this all day, every day. I know. Because my really good friends have boys. I pretty sure like a lot of them have boys, some of them have girls, and it's so fun. But like it's funny that I already fear about the future, like already, because I'm like, wait, there's gonna come a point where like they're either not gonna want to be friends anymore, or B, it's just gonna be like a little inappropriate now.
Right.
So it's just gonna be like,
Right. Or even with the same gender, maybe they don't click.
well, click.
And you can't force it. I mean, I haven't had this come up, like, majorly in my life. It's more an observation of, like, over time. Even, like, growing up, there could be people that, like, "Oh, your parents were friends, and then they really want you to be," not me personally, but, like, it just didn't work. Like, the girls were not a match, but their moms were best friends, and it's a tricky road sometimes to kind of it's something to navigate.
Yeah.
But that's why it's never over. Like you're always refining relationships, communication, and just figuring out what's going on is a constant work. It's work. It takes real like mindfulness of what's going on in all these aspects of life, just awareness. And even for your kids, you can't expect your kids to be best friends because you're best friends with the mom. It's so painful sometimes, but it's
But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think that you would say that it's a reason to like not be friends.
of course not.
You could still be
Of
friends.
course not.
Like you can't force your children to like hang out just to hang out. Like,
No, it's just something to be aware of. Of course, you could still be friends with the mom, but just an awareness that it just doesn't always translate so naturally to sometimes it does, and then that's great. It doesn't mean you can't like do Shabbos meals together or whatever, but like it's just not like, oh, like my daughter's gonna like ask to be the roommate for your daughter in camp. Like it just might not work out that way. And then it's hard. You have to protect your feelings, your kids' feelings and the relationship. So it's just something I just wanted to drop in there.
no, it's true, and especially because like we are a little bit in like a romanticizing life era. Like
100%.
romanticize their life. Everyone wants to picture this thing, and like sometimes it's good reminders to feel like, yeah, that might not happen.
Yeah, and it's also like things just because a picture looks a certain way, it doesn't mean that behind the scenes it really is that way, which we love I mean, we are in a social media era and people really portray the versions of themselves that they want to be true. But as adults, we just kinda need to, like, be able to digest that and realize that that's impossible. It is, and I mean, I my kids are not on social media, but, like, if you do have teenagers on social media, it's so important to, like, talk these things through with them because it's such a young, impressionable mind. There's a lot of, like, cognitive dissonance. I don't know if that word makes sense here, but, like, between reality and portrayal, and it's as an adult, even sometimes it's hard to, like, walk that line. So, for sure, a teenager, that's just something that we are working on our friendships constantly as an adult, our relationships, whether it's with a spouse, a in-law, a friend, it's constant work and it doesn't just happen. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Nothing is, leave it to Beaver or, like some of these movies that make like life seem so idyllic. Like it takes work. You want to get it to the point that it's as good as it can be,
Yeah.
but that takes effort.
It takes effort, and you know what? Let's dive into relationships. So yeah, so once you build that relationship and you get that going, it's so nice because then you're actually able to ask for help. And I do strongly urge people to ask for help in a sense, because we all need help. A village is here for a reason. So I think we need to kind of learn to allow ourselves to kind of let go of this portrayal. Like we are the most powerful women out there. We can do everything we want to do,
Yeah.
no matter what. And we should really like realize like we are human beings, we are not superwoman, and we should ask for help. And that really starts with a village.
100%. And I think it's so nice to have friends that you are close enough to that you can be vulnerable and that you can ask for help. That help can be physical. It can be like, I need to talk to you about something. I'm really having a hard time. And um, maybe it's asking for advice. Maybe it's maybe you really, something's going on and like, can you have my kids for Shabbos or can we come for Shabbos? Of course, that's a big ask. And that's like in a situation that like might be more acute, but to cultivate close enough friends that you're comfortable asking. And at the same time, I'm going to add to what you're saying, realizing that you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to have everything together and figure it out all the time and that everyone is struggling and that it's okay to say, this is really hard right now. I'm a little overwhelmed. Like, is there somewhere in my village that I can lean on for a little bit of help right now? Or, can I just say, I can't do everything? Because, and is it okay to ask? And I think for some people, that's very, very, very hard.
I gotta say, it's really hard for some people.
Really hard. And for those people, I would say you need to like work on, not you need to, but it might be helpful to work on just peeling back those layers of why is it so hard? And are you putting yourself up to like a standard or putting an expectation on yourself that's really, really unrealistic? Because everyone needs help sometimes. And the way that like our family structures are now, which is like very based on the nuclear family and the mother, the father, the kids in a house, everyone doing, figuring it out and being so overextended, which I think we're going to get into a little bit later, is actually not historically how it worked. Historically, like there were more intra-generational setups where people had a built-in village. People lived parents, in-laws, aunts, uncles. That is actually how humans are engineered to function. So I personally, I'm just going to be honest here. I do have a great support system of family. And for years, I had a hang up about it. I did. I felt like, how can I be having a hard time or overwhelmed when I have my parents here? I have my in-laws here. I have a husband. I have this, that. But then I kind of have really come into this realization, and this is almost like a recent thing that I'm like, that's normal. That's okay. Like, that's actually like historically how things function. So for me to have a hang up that like I have this and maybe other people don't, that doesn't matter. That's my setup. And it's it's actually okay and healthy to have a village and to be able to ask for help. It's a strength in a way.
It's definitely a strength. And it's funny because I would also pull back the curtain a little bit and say that it isn't like if you do have a hard time with it, which I know I do, it is a need to work on it because if you are doing this with like the humans around you, like you can't ask for help, how are you able to ask Hashem for help? And Hashem is not going to give you that help unless you ask. Sometimes Hashem does, and it's a really big blessing, but Hashem wants to hear from us. So in a sense, it's like we need to work on this.
And having a relationship with Hashem in that way and a relationship with your family is a more concrete way, I think, of like understanding a relationship with Hashem. Like, if you're more connected with a person, you're more comfortable being able to like be vulnerable and ask for help. And we want that connection with the people in our lives, right? We want to feel connected and we want to feel connected with Hashem, of course. Every time you do a mitzvah, you're connecting to Hashem. That's what it is. You're connecting. So you're also maybe giving another person an opportunity to help you is helping them connect to you and not always having to be perfect and have everything together and never needing help from anyone. Maybe like your friends, like want to be able, or your parents or your husband or whatever it is, they're like, no, like we want this relationship. We want to be there for you. And sometimes those people that have such a hard time asking are also the people that are always helping everybody else. Because there's also this like need to maybe prove yourself. I don't know what it is, but they're just very, they want to be in the position of giving, which is a beautiful thing. And they're like, I have bracha in my life. I can relate to this. I'm not like, so I want to give. But at the same time, if you put yourself in that section so harshly, you don't allow yourself to ever be the person that needs help.
Yes.
And I just also want to say, paid help is also part of a village. Maybe historically it wasn't as necessary because there was this intra-familial, intragenerational setup, but you can build your village because you need more support with intentional use of funds if it's around to have a reliable source of help that you are paying. And I'm a big fan if it's possible.
No, I'm a big fan. I love it. Also, I was talking about this with my friend Rivka Morris, and she was saying like sometimes paid help. I mean, no, sorry, paid help is more reliable than friends and family.
100%.
Sometimes when it's just like a favor, favors fall through all the time, and not for whatever specific reason, but they do fall through because it's just nothing concrete. Where it's like a paid position is concrete. You are having help, you know it, and sometimes that is just such a good peace of mind.
It is, and it's also just a way of having good preparation, having good organization. Again, if it's possible for you, if it's what you need, if you can afford it, it's a way of setting up your life and setting yourself up for success to have that reliable help.
So now that we spoke about how a village could really help you, I kind of want to tap in a little bit how a village could maybe sometimes burn you, whether it means you yourself relying too much on people and then getting hurt because they don't come up to what you expected or they're not doing the things you asked them to then having people in your life coming to you too much and
Correct.
asking too much of you.
So I think this is a hot take. It's to do with carpools and asking for favors and there can be a line. There can be. Again, I don't, I'm not saying don't ask for help, but there can be a line where perhaps you have extended yourself to the point that you are overly relying on people in your village to pick up those pieces to the point that perhaps you're putting someone else in a position that their boundaries might be crossed. So there's two sides to this. Someone who is constantly the helper, I think it's important to be able to comfortably put up boundaries and say, I can do this. I can't do this.
Right.
Person asking needs to understand that those boundaries are there not because they don't love you or care about you, but you because maybe they just have a lot going on that you don't know about. And maybe you might from the outside think, well, they have it together or they're driving anyway. Or what do you mean? Their mom helps them with carpool. They have it so much easier. And I'm not saying,
Stay at home.
um,
They get what time.
right, exactly. I'm working, they're not, whatever it is. It's a dangerous line to start crossing and comparing your situation to another person's situation or applying someone else's support system to then, therefore, they should be able to extend themselves towards you. It's a little bit sticky. Um, but I think what I was saying before kind of ties in. There needs to be like a mindfulness to this. So let's say, for example, there's a culture in your group of friends where everyone is signing up for basketball, baseball, soccer. I have boys, as you can tell, ballet, music, piano. Okay. And everyone is just doing a million and a half things. And so then you kind of feel this pressure. Well, I want to give my kids those things, right? And all those things are beautiful and all those things are good for kids. And this is why I'm not black and white. If it's causing so much logistical stress, financial stress, whatever it is, on your family, those things are not as important as managing your life for the situation that you are in. So if you are, I'm not talking about you just had a new baby, your husband's on a trip, and you one time asked for a favor, for help with a carpool or with getting to a practice or et cetera, et cetera.
For those you could do.
Yes,
Like,
please, please. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying mindful of your asks. If it's literally the entire basketball season, you can never drive your kid home or you can't participate in a carpool. You cannot be on time. You're constantly every week, oh my God, my kid needs to get home. I need to figure this out. There's a chance that you have bitten off more than you can chew. And I can tell you, I am not saying this from a like, I'm better than you standpoint because I have been there. I have been there. That I was so overwhelmed that I was sick of hearing myself say the word overwhelmed. And I had to sit, no, and like literally, even as a friend talking to a friend about, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so overwhelmed. It's like annoying to hear at a certain point because you have to step back.
back yourself. Like we can
Yes.
help you if you don't want
I
to.
literally had to take a step back and be like, okay, my kids are in school till 4:30. I have this amount of bandwidth. There's this amount of time. I may be not the most naturally um, organized person, but running a household with several children, with several schedules, requires you to learn, unless you're so chill that you really don't care, which I think is very uncommon in my experience, a certain level of executive functioning skills to zoom out, look at a calendar, and just be real. Okay. So you cannot compare yourself to mom A and mom B, who maybe have older kids who can babysit, who maybe have a husband who works from home, who maybe have a nanny, who maybe have a parent that can help them. Those are all great, but those supports are their supports, not your supports. So you just have to say, can I handle this? Is it worth the stress. Like, is this basketball league? Okay, I'll be honest with you. My kids, what I do right now, it's one extracurricular per session. So if my son is doing basketball in school, he is not doing a Sunday league because I cannot handle it. And it's not fair to just be like, hey, Sarala, can you take my kid every single week? I made up a name, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just have to say no. Are there kids in my son's class who have more basketball enrichment in their lives? Yes. But they have decided that that's what they can handle. That's what their kid needs. That's appropriate for them. That has nothing to do with me. But I think sometimes we get into this comparison game in a lot of fronts. First of all, we all want to provide for our kids so much, and we just love them, and we just want to give to them. And then we're like, well, Yaakov is doing this, so then I should, I need, Benny to do this, whatever, and it's just you need to just stay within what you can handle right now. And that can even be financially. Like it to stretch yourself farther because other people are doing things you just have to it's apples and oranges is what I'm trying to say. Your life and their life. Yes, save those calls for like just today. Like I was telling you as I came in, like I was in between like a Zoom appointment and coming here and I get a call from school that my kid is sick and I'm trying to like how sick is he? Can he stay in school? Is this important? Do I have time to pick him up? Stressing out, sweating, like can I ask this favor? Okay, you know what, Nina? I have friends who pick up in the middle of the day. I know I don't want to be a burden. I have to get over yourself and just be like, can you help me? Because I literally cannot get there. This is like an emergency situation.
Yeah.
Also, I probably could have worked and I could have worked on leaving more spaces in my schedule. Like maybe I shouldn't have had like a shear, an appointment
Look inwardly yourself too.
all the time. I'm really trying to be a growing person and I'm not just dishing out advice that I'm not taking. Like this is something that I'm constantly working on. My mom is always telling me, Nina, leave spaces in your schedule.
That's also something I really has to do. And I'm not there yet because my kids are young enough that I don't have to be there yet, but I know I have to get into it now.
It's even just personally, like I and even like when we were scheduling this, I was like, okay, I have a Zoom appointment. I could be there 2:15. And then I stopped myself and I said, listen, Dossie,
Right? Sure.
I don't wanna be running late. I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna get to you until 2:30. That type of awareness is something I've worked on because my tendency is to overschedule, underestimate the amount of time things are gonna take, back to back to back to back. I don't think about, "Oh, like, I have a class finishing at this time. There's probably gonna be 15 minutes of schmoozing before I can get on to my next commitment." So I've learned to kind of but I'm still working on it. And yes, today's sick emergency was unexpected, spoke in the wheel. And maybe I should have been a little bit looser with scheduling things back to back to back so that when those things come up, I'm not like frantically freaking out because I live in Pico. My kids go to school in La Brea and, these things come up. But anyway, so I'm just trying to be reflective. I'm not trying to admonish or say that other people don't do it right and I do it right. These are things I have legitimately struggled with. They do not come naturally to me, but I think I've just observed over just as a mom in friend circles or just teaching that these can be sticky and it's so tempting to see that let's say grandma picking up in carpool and you're thinking to yourself, wow, she has it so good. She's not even needing to do all these carpools. She has it so much easier than me or she doesn't work and she's always driving anyway, so I'm just going to pull that curtain back. You have no idea what that person is dealing with. You have no idea. Yes, someone has family support. So nice. You don't know what responsibilities that comes along with also. You don't know. So, usually, if everybody put their own situations into like a list and put all the lists into the middle of a room, there's this like famous thing like you would choose your own situation. You just don't know. You don't know that that mom's grandfather is sick and that they're visiting them or that they're helping with their care or that their parents are divorced and they're an emotional, rock for their parents and all of the responsibility that can come along in that situation. You just don't know because you see on the outside, she has it easier than me. You don't know.
It's just so crazy. I mean, like the theme I would say that I've been hearing over this past hour is that it really like one huge one is that comparison really kills everything.
Comparison is the thief of joy. Just in parenting in general, like, just be happy for your friends whose parents are doing carpool because you're also robbing yourself of the joy of just loving your friend and not applying it to yourself. Of like, I wish I had that. You're taking away of like, that's really nice for her. Just be happy for people without applying it to yourself. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's not easy. It's not easy, even like, especially financially, things get sticky. Like, so and so can afford to go to Israel with their family. I wish I could go to Israel. I wish I've never taken my kids on a trip, blah, 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 blah. Okay, just be happy for them. They had a trip to Israel that's so nice for them. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Really, and it's something we all work on. It's something we wanna teach our kids. With siblings, you wanna teach your kid, just be happy your brother got an A. Don't be intimidated that you're not as good of a student.
So like even like going back to where you're talking about like, oh, like let's say your son's friend has basketball. First of all, like this is a great thing to teach them. Like be happy that he has basketball. And you know what? Also like in a sense, we have to also teach our kids that like you don't have to be like everyone else.
100%.
Happy. Like just be happy for them.
Exactly.
I know like speaking for myself, so my kids are too little. Like once you start doing that of just being happy for your friends and for the people around you, your life gets so much less stressful.
It's so much lighter.
So much less.
So much lighter. You're just not carrying away. It's like an albatross that you're holding this heaviness of like, I don't have enough, or I don't have the right this there. They have this and I don't. Lift that off and be like, I have what I need. And maybe you don't, and then figure out what you need and get it.
Exactly. And also like you can always restructure your life.
Always. You can pull back. You can and I think we wanted to get into a little bit this idea that parenting today has become this over management, this over scheduling, this constant need to provide entertainment. Whereas like literally in the 70s and 80s, maybe even the 90s, there was a lot more room to have free time. And I think there's something healthy about that, that it's okay for kids to be bored. It's okay.
Because it's so like even me, it's so ingrained in me that like I always need to entertain my daughter. And once someone once told me, I don't remember who, and I really wish I could shout her out, but she said like I'm not my daughter's playmate. I'm her mom. So if I don't want to play right now, she can figure out how to do it. She's fine. And I was like, what? But she's so right because I know for myself, I have such a hard time playing with her because I just don't like these games. I don't like them. So like I used to force myself and then I used to hate it. And then I'm just like, what? And then obviously like she knows I hate it. Like
Right.
she's like, what? So like you're so right. Like kids should be bored. And
Sometimes, I mean, listen, there's a balance. Sometimes, like, you play the game of cards, and then you're like, Mommy's done, and I'm going to read, and you can do something by yourself. Or, like, I'm very blessed to live on a amazing street with a lot of nice young families. And on Shabbos afternoon, I feel like we're back in the 50s because the kids are all playing in the street and all having fun and outside. I feel like also you pull away the screens because it's Shabbos, and then all of a sudden, kids like on a Sunday when a kid says they're bored, a lot of times, at least in my case, they're asking for a screen, you know? And like,
you give them a million ideas and they're gonna be like, no.
right. But anyway, so it's also nice to provide kids with open times of exploration. My kid who's in 6th grade now, a bunch of his friends have started being really into biking. And at first, there's this like hesitation of is it safe and whatever. Listen, we all have our the moms are all in communication. They're at my house. We have our little plans. But to give the kids the space to just have free time and play. And it's not about like you're on a team, you're on a practice, you're at an art class, you're at a piano lesson, and all those things are great. All those things are great. But maybe we're doing a little too much, whereas, like, that kinda leads to that overwhelm of, like, "Oh my god, I can't handle my life," and, this one has this, and this one has that, and, like, I'm freaking out, and maybe you're doing too much, and maybe it would even be first of all, it would be better for the kids to not be in a household where the mom is overwhelmed,
Yeah.
firstly. Second of all, maybe it's time to examine, are our kids overscheduled? Are we overscheduled? And can we just be comfortable being home?
That my daughter is in nursery, and I don't know. I guess I just it's funny, none of my friends have kids for her age, so there wasn't that pressure. Maybe it was like that hourly pressure of like, oh, like she's a big girl now, like she should do an after school activity. And like for like 2 months, I like took her after school, pushed her to do it. And it was really cute the first few times. And then after that, she was a mess every single time. And I was so confused. I'm like, what is happening? Why are you always a mess? And then one day I was like, "You know what? Like, we can't do this. Like, let's just go home." And she was so much happier.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, I was overextending her, not even myself." Like,
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah, like she comes home from a big school day. Like, she can't do more.
Right. Unless, yes, in theory, right? Like giving you like your kids playing an instrument or painting, or I see I'm getting into the girly references now. Or having a sport that they're really good at, or conditioning their body and exercising. They're all great. But are we overdoing it? And are we paying attention to allowing our kids to have that downtime? And are we doing it maybe also like developmentally appropriate? Like, are we paying attention to like, they've just been in school, like our kids in Jewish day schools are in school, at least my kids, from 7:45 till 4:30. And they have homework. So like then on top of that, the pressure of like baseball practice, basketball practice, it's a lot. It's a lot for them, and it's okay to have downtime, and it's okay to not be doing every activity that everyone else is doing. And what works for kid A isn't going to work for kid B or mom A or mom B. And like I was saying before, like maybe in most of the world, parents have like one or two kids. And so they're doing all of these things. In our families, Baruch Hashem, many people in the Jewish community have 3+ kids.
Yeah.
So, yes, maybe you don't have as much attention for all of that overscheduling, and you're giving them a big, beautiful family and siblings. So, you don't need to feel bad about it. But, like, you also have to be realistic that you're running 5 or 6 calendars. Let's say you have 4 kids, yourself, your husband. I mean, listen, you could go be a CEO of a huge Fortune 500 at this point with all the calendars you're running. It's a lot. So, sometimes it's just to be mindful of like, everyone has a different situation. Like someone's husband can help with these carpools, maybe yours can't. Just be realistic. Just be realistic about like what your situation is and what's best for everybody involved, if that makes sense.
It definitely
And also, like, when you're dealing with overwhelm or your friend is, there also can be a point where you're like, I think this is bigger than a friend issue. And I just want to be honest with you. Like, I love you, but I think not to be critical, but maybe somebody either needs to reevaluate their life or maybe they need more professional help. And I know for myself, like, I realized in myself that I needed to stop talking to friends about whatever I was feeling because, like I said, structurally, there was something off that I needed to address. And your friends are there to listen and there to help and there to guide and there to be your village. But at a certain point, it is healthy to have a boundary, whether you realize it yourself or if you're the listening friend, to very kindly say, like, I think this is not a purely like friend issue anymore. Like, maybe I can help you look at a calendar, or maybe you know, like, I have some friends who are, like, much more organized, and at a certain point, I stopped thinking to myself, "It's so not fair," or whatever these things that we think, and more just like, "What are they doing differently?" And I literally asked a friend of mine, like, "How do you keep your calendar?" And she's like, "Actually, I use Google Calendar." I'm like, "Can you show me?" She told me how to use it. She showed me how she color codes. I don't exactly use her methods. You have to make it work for yourself. But I have another friend, really close friend. She's a little bit younger than me, but she is so organized. Her lists have lists have lists. And so listen, I'm never going to be that type A. And I literally like learned from her some methods, and I thought to myself, I used to work really hard at being a student. Can I apply some of those methods to like planning a menu or scheduling out my week? And I kind of like used some of her ideas of how she organizes, and I made my own system that works for my brain, and I'm still working on it. I'm not a perfect product, but instead of like looking at friends that have something you don't have as like a jealousy that's negative, it's like, what can I learn? What are they doing differently? And how can I make it work for me in my life? Because that's a good kind of jealousy. That's a learning type of jealousy, like not jealousy, but just admiration as opposed to jealousy. Because jealousy and comparison in a negative way feels really heavy, and admiration feels more like I'm going to grow and I'm going to learn and I'm going to improve.
See, that is so special, and I love that you just said that. So it's so true.
I mean, even when it comes to like preparing for Yuntif, like, you know, I mean, I don't know if we're getting too into the weeds, but like I tend to be more like, what am I in the mood of cooking and whatever. But then I would get to Yuntif and I was flying and I had a migraine and I was resentful and Yuntif didn't feel very nice for my kids. And my sister-in-law, who I love to death, is like going to the park with her kids, Erev Yuntif. And I'm like, what? So, like, I kind of adapted her style and my style, and I started to freeze in advance more, and I started to streamline my menus more. I still have my own flair and my own style, and I'm gonna make my salads day of, and I'm gonna like do my own Nina style.
Yeah.
But I incorporated some of her methods because I was like, Yentif was needs to also feel good for the kids. And like, you know what she's doing was really working a lot better than what I was doing. So I've learned over the years and I've adapted.
I'll say you are so incredible. And just like hearing from you, I'm like, wow, like you don't just grow. You strive to just keep going.
I try. Thank you. That's very kind. I'm definitely not a finished product, but I think
Even just saying that,
I
right? Joe was like,
thank you.
wow, you're like, because like some people will be like, okay, like I get here and I'm good with that. Like it's just amazing so that you're just
Thank you. I really try. And it's something that is very important to me to also convey to my children or to my students or to my moms that come to my class that like we're all like constantly growing and learning. And like we talked about with social groups, it's always work. It's always work. Life is never a finished product. And that's kind of the energy that I try bring as I guess the facilitator, so to speak, in my business. And that's the energy that I'm really striving to bring to all of my relationships. I hope it's showing up. I'm trying with my spouse, with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends. Um, it's just, I'm really been working towards this like awareness and mindfulness and I guess a growth mindset. And I think in friendship groups, just to circle back, I think just that awareness of like everyone has their own story and their own situation is just really important to maintaining positive relationships and keeping your village a happy place and not like a resentful or imbalanced place.
okay, guys, we'll stop here. I'm so grateful for Nina Adler for coming on the podcast. We do have more, and there will be a part 2, but we got into the 15-minute line, so we had to stop. If you liked what you heard, Nina is on Instagram as Tunes and Tykes. Her username will be tagged on this episode, so you can always reach out there. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.